What's up, guys? It's me. I'm back. We got some good news and we got some bad news. But I was just looking at this intake and I wanted to see how bad this was, and look at how much metal is inside of there. And I kind of thought that I'd be able to clean it out, but I never actually looked into the runners. And this thing is just terrible. Probably should have looked at that sooner. I looked inside here and it really wasn't that bad. There were some chunks there and I figured, oh, it's not so bad. But yeah, the rest of it, I was just gonna try to clean it out, but I'm not even gonna touch it. I'm just gonna go to the junkyard, go pick one up. I don't even think it's worth it to try to clean that thing because it's pretty bad. For now, I'm just gonna get going on the rest of this thing, start buttoning everything else up, do the wiring, put the exhaust on, should be able to put the turbo in and radiator, everything else. So let's get going on that. So goal is to get everything going aside from the intake by the end of today. It's already like 4 p.m. I haven't been very motivated today or the last couple days. I wasn't really feeling so good. And then I just have been having a hard time getting motivated to actually get this thing done, which sounds kind of weird, but it happened. So last night I actually got hung up on an exhaust manifold bolt that was broke off in the head, and I didn't even notice it until I already had everything assembled. It was broke off about 1/4 inch inside of the hole, so it was very, very hard to get out of there. It broke off an extractor inside the bolt and did the whole weld, washer, and nut method on there. It took me like 3 hours just to get that one out of there. So pretty frustrated with that, but I did end up getting it out. Let's just put this into perspective here. This is all my attempts here from trying to get that bolt out. So this is, from what I can count, like 16 different attempts. Welding washers and nuts on there, and it would come out a little bit and then snap off. So it would come out, snap off, and eventually ended up getting the thing out of there. Good morning, gentlemen. This video is kind of going to run into a couple different days. We are on day 2. I didn't really get a whole lot done yesterday, just kind of buttoned everything up. I was a little disappointed after finding the metal in the intake. I didn't really think that there was going to be that much in there. I probably should have checked it earlier. So we're on our way to the junkyard right now, and we're going to pick up another intake. And I'm also going to look around for a tailgate. If I can find a tailgate for the Ranger that's the right color, I'm going to get a new tailgate, because I have that right now I have that French license plate crooked in the tailgate, and I did that like 10 years ago and it looks really bad right now. So I want to go back to just a stock tailgate and put a regular bumper back on there. And the goal with the truck is kind of just to make it as sleeper as possible, look completely stock, and just build a sleeper. That's the goal with it. So I might try to lower it a little bit, but yeah, I want to get that regular tailgate and bumper on there because it looks like garbage. Got the intake in and on, got it from the junkyard. Fabulous, that's wonderful. So this is actually taking me quite a bit longer than I thought. I think I'm just having an off day or a couple off days, because everything that I'm doing is taking me like a really, really long time, a lot longer than it should. I decided to go back with the loop because the weather's starting to warm up here, and it's been like 20, 30 degrees here lately, and it's just gonna keep getting warmer, so I'm not really concerned about it that much. 30 degrees isn't really that cold. But here's a prime example of exactly how my day is going. Got the new intake, got it home, put the new intake air temp sensor in there. So got done slamming that sucker in there and went to go put the map sensor in, and put the map sensor in and realized that the little clips that hold the sensor in were broken off. We do what we always do. We adapt and overcome. Grab one of the old rod bearings and make a clamp to hold that map sensor in there. But enough of me complaining like a bitch. Here we go. Let's look at the updates. But enough of me complaining like a bitch. Let's see where we're at. So we got the turbo in, on, downpipes on, oil feed and drain are good, intake's on, fuel rail and supply, everything is good, intercooler piping is on. All I really have to do yet is hook the wiring harness up, put the crossover pipe on, and torque converter bolts in. Radiator's full, everything's good. Alright guys, got everything pretty much ready to go now. Not putting the heater in actually allows me to run the wiring up like that, which is pretty nice because you can see it was all kind of melted from being so close down here to the exhaust. So I'm just going to run it up like this for now, and then I should be able to keep it like that a little bit longer. I do have some plans for this thing to actually redo the entire harness. I would like to basically strip the entire harness completely bare and then remount the ECU inside the cab somewhere and run all the wires individually back to the computer. So it would be completely custom, not your traditional harness or even anything like this. Not sure exactly how I want to do it yet, but I do want to redo the wiring because I don't really like it that much. So I'm just going to use some El Cheapo O'Reilly's 1030 for now, because what I'm going to do is, oil's optional, that's good. I'm going to go for it, I think. Just use the 1030, I'm going to run it for like 20 minutes, and then I'm just going to dump this oil and change a filter, and then I'm going to put different oil in it. So I just kind of want to get it started. So I'm actually, while I'm dumping this, I'm actually kind of nervous about the lifters. I found a couple lifters that weren't, didn't seem like they were working properly. When I would push down on the push rods, they didn't seem like they were moving, so. Pretty good, no knocking. Yeah, I mean, it didn't really sound like there was any problems, but I'm nervous about that gauge not working. But I didn't really have an oil pressure gauge before, so I guess maybe I'm not really that nervous about it. Maybe I'm just overly paranoid. All right, guys, so we just got it running and did the live stream and stuff, and I turned it off because I was a little bit concerned about the oil pressure. The gauge was actually not showing that it was reading, but I did verify that it's a normally closed switch. So when it's running and it has oil pressure, it's actually opening the circuit, showing like it has no oil pressure on the gauge because it has pressure. So it's actually opposite. I just need to change the trigger on the circuit for the gauge, and we should be fine. And I have a way I can show you guys this. Well, I'll show you that it's backwards. So if we watch the oil pressure gauge, right now it's in the accessory position. It's showing that it has pressure when it's actually off. So I'm going to start it, I'm going to get it running, and then I'm going to let it kind of idle down low. And when it idles really low, you'll see it flip down, or actually when it idles really low, you'll see it flip up like it has pressure, and then when it idles back up, it's going to come down. So it's actually opposite. When it's idling low, it doesn't have pressure, so it's showing on the gauge. It's basically just backwards. So that's just basically showing when the engine is spinning really low, like 400 or 500 RPM, it doesn't have over 30 PSI oil pressure because it's flipping up and down. This tach actually does read a little bit high, so when it's reading 1,000, it's actually at about 600 or 700. So when you see it down to like 500, 600, it's actually like 300 RPM. So it's really low. That's why the oil pressure was changing. So I feel like we have good oil pressure. So I just got to work out the tune a little bit and get the thing going, but I feel like we're good. And then I got to switch the trigger on that circuit there for that switch.